Hello, Selim. Hello, Janina. Welcome into the room. I'm just waiting for a few more people to come in. I will warn you that this is a discussion on mental health and suicide prevention. So if this is not for you, then please do scroll on, because it is a sensitive subject. Hi, user 29DD. Thank you for coming in the room. The big board that you can see in the background is actually a board that represents my son. Thank you for coming in the room. It is to do with mental health and suicide prevention, this page. So if you're not into talking about stuff like that, then I would ask you just to go on to the next one, because I don't want to upset nobody. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to try and prevent people from unaliving themselves. So many people are in dark places, and it's unreal. And we need to try and help these people whichever way we can. I've written several books, and I am going to be gifting some of them a signed copy at no cost to the person who I choose. All I do ask is that they inbox me their personal address so I could get it sent to them in the post. So somebody is going to be lucky enough to receive one of those. But like I've said, I've actually written several books, and it's all to do with life. You know, we have a lot of ups and downs in life, and sometimes we find ourselves in a dark place where you don't really want to be. And this is what I'm here for, to try and help people to come out of that dark corner. Hello, Ashley. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming into the room, the happy crew. You know, I love how some of you, these names that you come up with for your thing, some of them are quite unusual and some of them quite shocking, actually. But that's the fun of TikTok, I would imagine. Like I said, I'm here to discuss mental health and suicide prevention. So if it isn't something that you want to talk about or get involved in, that's fine. I totally get it. It's not an easy subject, so I really do understand that. If you could actually tap on the screen and help me to get more people into the room, because it is an important message. I'm sitting here on a daily basis, or trying to sit here on a daily basis, trying to raise awareness and prevention. You know, it's not that I don't know anything about it, because I do. I've personally experienced it, and this is why I wouldn't want any other family to ever go through that. It was horrendous. You don't expect to bring your own child back in a body bag. And that is something that I don't want a family to go through. So I would appreciate it if you could actually save it and, you know, just click on the screen and help me to get more people involved. It would be really appreciated. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, please do so. You know, one of the things I do try to do is be quite honest and open, and hopefully, you know, if I don't have the answers, I will certainly find them for you. It is something that I really want to do, is to help others. But like I said, I have several books that I wish to gift people. These are all fact-based stories. None of them are made up. They're all based on true stories of people's lives. and certain situations that you come across that in life that you shouldn't really have to deal with. But sadly, that's the world we live in. So if you could actually tap on the screen for me, please. If you can just share and invite others into the room. Somebody that you may know may need that help. I don't know. It's a big world out there. You know, it's not easy sitting here talking to your phone and you get nobody talking back to you. I know it's hard. It's not an easy task, but it's one I've chose to do to try and get a message out there. It's something that's very close and dear to my heart, as I've said. You know, you don't. I've had a lot of training in mental health and suicide prevention and awareness. But the one time that my expertise was needed, I was denied that opportunity to help my own son by Manchester Police, that they chose not to assist that night, which cost my son his life. And I have to live with their decision for the rest of my life. So if you could just tap on the screen for me, please, I would be very, very grateful. I find it very discerning how people just don't interact with others anymore. It's quite strange, really. You know, what happened to compassion and understanding and empathy? It got lost along the way. It really did. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for coming in, darling. I'm still sitting here trying, Pat. And never give up. Never give up. I've decided I'm buggering off in January. So watch this space. I'll be doing some lives abroad. I'm trying to get people to come into the room. Amanda, can you tap on the screen for me, darling, and share? That would be great. Thank you for coming into the room, London 27. I'm here to talk about mental health and suicide prevention. You know, it's a big thing that I'm doing at the moment, trying to raise awareness. I've written several books and I'm going to be gifting some of them to a lucky viewer. All I ask is that they share and tap on the screen. One of my books is called How Dare You? This Is My Life. And it's to do with bullying in a workplace environment, which is quite common. You know, you'd be surprised just how many people have to go through that. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, and the reality of it is the person who was involved in this bullying exercise was actually the CEO. For some reason, they decided they were going to take this person down the route of investigations and tribunals and all the rest of it. But she ended up winning and outdoing the CEO. The CEO ended up leaving the company. She proved that everything that was being said was wrong. Thank you for coming in the room, Tilly. My name's Veronica, and I'm here just to raise awareness of mental health and suicide prevention. I've written several books, as I said earlier, and I'd just like to try and help people to, it's not easy, especially in today's world. There's a lot of people suffering with mental health and struggles. Thank you for coming in the room, Christopher. You're welcome. This is why I'm here, to try and help as much as I can. There's only so much I can do. I'm just one person sitting here in my kitchen talking to my telephone. And it's hard when you don't get somebody responding back, or you're not hearing a conversation. It's something that it's alien, really. Some people manage to do it, and I'm trying my best to do it. Hi, Spirit-led Earth. Thank you for coming into the room. I'm still trying to raise awareness, sweetheart, and I'll do it until the dying day. I hope you enjoyed the book, or, well, I can't say enjoyed it because it was quite a sad story to write. Thank you, Spirit, for sharing and tapping on the screen. It's not easy sitting here, I'll be honest with you. How people do it, I don't know, but I've got a quest to do, and I've got to do it. Not for me, for my son. Yeah, I know. It's not easy. It's not an easy read at all. I get it. Thank you for supporting me on this one. I really do appreciate it, Spirit. I really do. I'm still sitting here waiting to gift some of the other books I've got, because they're all based on true stories, every single one of them. And it's to do with bullying within a workplace. One of them, that's How Dare You, This Is My Life. And the person that was involved in that, they actually beat the CEO at their own game. The CEO ended up leaving the company. Now, the trustees decided that enough was enough, which was really a good outcome, I think. The other one is to do with children going through the children's homes and the Equinox inquiry. That was based on true facts. Because the only thing I write about is life experiences for people. I don't make up stories. This is all true love, because I think it's important to get that message out there. Life is fragile, and you've got to be careful what memories you make, especially as a child. Thank you, Spirit. Me personally, growing up, my parents divorced, and it had a huge effect on me as a child. It really did. I don't think my parents realised just how much of effect it had on me, but that's by the by now. I love them to bits. They're no longer with me now. They're all both in heaven. Thank you for sharing and liking. I really do appreciate it. But I would ask you if you would honestly give an honest review on the book once you've read it. And let people know, because it is an important message. I don't want another family to ever go through what I went through. And that's why I focused on writing his story. Yeah, they were divorced. Well, I used to say to Dad, why don't you find somebody else, Dad? No, I've only ever loved one woman, and that was your mum. And he stayed on his own for the rest of his life. Never did remarry, never had another partner. Yeah, it's sad, really, that, yeah, yeah, and I think I was about 11 when they divorced. So being on his own all those years, yeah, it was a long, long time, you know. But he'd often ask how mum was, how's your mum, how's she doing? You never stop loving a blessing. I hope you're having a wonderful day, Spirit. I've seen that you were on earlier. I thought I'd try and come on for a little while, see if we can get some more people interacting. And to be honest, I want to get rid of these books. So I need to get these people in so I can start signing them and sending them out. It's been okay. I live on my own, so it's quiet all the time. The only time I get any noise is when my kids come with my grandkids. Yeah, I've been trying to get my viewers to share. Thank you for coming in, Barry. Can you please tap on the screen, darling, and share so we can get more people in? Because it is an important message I'm trying to get out there. I don't want another family to ever go through what my family went through. It was horrendous. And Manchester Police have got a lot to answer for. I was looking at something the other day on the news about them, and I thought it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me one bit. They're a law unto themselves. Years ago when we were kids, we could go on the street. If you seen the bobby, you could go and talk to him, or if you were mischievous, he'd come up to you and he'd know exactly whose kid you were. They knew. Well, them days have gone. They've all gone, really. Yeah, I can remember one time when I think I was about 7 or 8. We had a local police officer, and he always he knew every single child, and he knew whose parents they were belonging to. And if one of us misbehaved, he'd soon be knocking on the door. Can we please tap on the screen and get some people coming in, please, and share the live? I'd like to get this message out to as many people as possible. I just want to be. I'm going to go to Spain in January. I'm going to spend my birthday out there. I'm going solo, and I'm going to be meeting up with Nigel and Louis, who are going to help me to promote my book. Which I thought was really kind of them to do that. So I'm going to be out there doing it on my own, solo. I can't wait. Yeah, it's really, really important. Thank you for following. You're really welcome. Thank you for following me. Like I said, I'm going to go out on the 7th of January. I'm going to do some lives out there. Nigel and Louis are from the Bargain Loving Brits programme. I met them when I was out there last year. I'm solo. So I need, after I'd finished writing his story and entrusted it to a publisher that turned out to be a scam, really did break me. But last year I decided I was going to go out there. Obviously my kids were a bit worried, me being on my own. Mum, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I said, no, I'll be fine. I'm a big girl. I've got my big girl knickers on and I will be fine. And I did go solo for 10 days. So this time I'm going out there for 2 weeks. I'm going to do some podcasts with Nigel and Louis from Bargain Loving Brits, which I'm looking forward to. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I need a break, you know, especially after being scammed by that company. I can't mention them by name because they're under investigation. But I was interviewed a couple of weeks ago by BBC Watchdog programme. So my story is going to be on there as well, on BBC Watchdog, because this company is under investigation. And I'm not the only author they've done it to. They've done it to quite a few people. But I was absolutely shocked when I found out that this guy who set up the company was an ex-police officer. He was also how can I say it? He was an ex-offender too, which really broke me. When I found that out, I just cried. But it took me a couple of weeks to actually recover my book and get all the rights back on it, because obviously under a contract you sign, they have certain rights to your publication, and I didn't want that to remain in his awful hands ever. So I had to contact Trading Standards, and they gave me the best advice ever on how to do that. So I followed their directions. The first thing I did was send an email, because everything was always by email with them, never really spoken on the phone or in writing. So I sent the email over to them explaining that they had with 14 days to produce my book, and if they didn't produce, I was going to cancel the contract. I had to sit and bide my time for 14 days. I knew they weren't going to produce it, you know, because it should have been produced over 2 years ago. And I had to sit and wait for this 14 days to go past. And then I sent in a formal letter of termination of contract, reversing all rights back to me. I contacted my bank at that point, and all money that I'd actually paid over to them was reimbursed back to me, because it was proven that it was a scam company. So I did receive my money back, but for a person to do that, because he knew full well the reason why I'd wrote Brian's story and why I wanted it out there. For him, that's how evil and no conscience this man had. So on the day that I actually did that, I thought, no, I'm just going to go self-publishing. I don't trust another publishing company. And that's exactly what I did. But the other thing I'd had is I had 3 other books sitting on my hard drive that I'd actually put on the back burner because of wanting to concentrate on getting Brian's story out there. Thank you for coming in, Lizzie. Thank you. You know, and those 3 books just sat there too, and I thought, you know something, Veronica, you're sitting here out of the computer. It took me 14 hours to rescue Brian's book, because on their system, they'd locked it down, so I couldn't even alter it or nothing. Hi, Lizzie, thank you. So I had to sit for 14 hours solid. My son was very concerned because I just wouldn't move from the computer. And I said to him, Mark, I need to rescue your brother's book, and I'll do whatever I have to do it. So at 14 hours, I copied it all back onto another hard drive and rescued it that way. And like I said, I was sitting at the computer and I decided just publish the whole lot. I need to offload, because as long as I'm sitting here festering, it's not doing my health any good. And this is why I wanted to just get it out there, all of them, but mainly my son's. You know, this is what I wanted. The last thing he said to me was, "Mum, I'm sorry." And he didn't have to have it. He didn't need to be sorry for anything. He was just ill. And the night he was crying out for help, he actually went to his neighbour and he asked his neighbour, "Can you kill me, please, kill me?" Well, his neighbour seen that this is not normal. You know, he was having a psychotic episode and the police should have turned up, because a lot of people don't realise the ambulance crew cannot break entry. Only the police have the power of entry. Hello, Vicky. Thank you for coming in. So when he phoned 3 times to get my son help, and 3 times they just dismissed the call. It wasn't urgent enough, but it was urgent, because it ended up my son didn't survive the night, you know, and 15 hours later they turn up at his door and find the aftermath of their negligence, really. That's all I can say. Thank you for following. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, Lizzie. Yeah, it was hard. You know, and the other thing that I found shocking about Manchester Police, they didn't even phone me as his legal next of kin and tell me that my son was dead. They didn't phone me. My other son, Mark, had to phone around Manchester thank you so much. Had to phone around Manchester to find out what had happened to his brother. And to this day, Manchester Police have never really apologised. And during the coroner's hearing, because one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that because everything that was going off, you know, I was a grieving mum. Everything was going off around me. I'm having to write letters of complaints to different organisations that I just didn't bother looking out for him. You know, I insisted that my son's story was used as a training tool, because I'm a retired palliative care worker. So I do know what the protocol is. And that night I knew that protocol hadn't been followed. So I got the bit between my teeth and I wasn't going to let go until I got to the truth as to why this had happened. Thank you, Lizzie. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. So I didn't sit and grieve. I turned it around. I put that negative into a positive. I was going to save other people's lives. I can't bring my son back, but I'm damned if I'm going to sit there and let somebody else's family suffer. So this is why this board here is actually now being used to train emergency staff. So any mental health call is no longer just categorised as a non-urgent case. It's put into a tier system, green, amber and red. Well, mental health is often put into green as a non-urgent when it shouldn't be, because it is an urgent case. It's somebody who's having a breakdown or a crisis, which could lead to what my son did in the end. So now it's been people who phone in, or family members who phone in for help because their loved ones are having a crisis, goes into the amber. But if that one emergency call comes in where somebody is, you know, suicidal, it will go straight into red, and somebody has to attend immediately. And one of the things the coroner did say to me, Veronica, it's not going to bring your son back. But because of Brian, the system has been changed, and that's his legacy to the community. And I was just so grateful that I know I lost my son that night. But if it's going to save one life, I've done my job. All my life I've been a carer, right from being a kid, because I was the big sister. I looked after my siblings. I went on to working in nursing homes, mental health support worker, and then when I lost my mum to cancer 24 years ago, I switched over to palliative care because it was something that was very close to my heart. Yeah, I know. I've not actually grieved. This is why I'm here. My job is done to a certain extent. I've wrote his book. He asked me before he died, Mum, will you help me to write my story? He wanted people to know what it felt like living on the other side of mental health. And he had a lot of things happen to him in his life that weren't his fault. He had no control over it. And I said to him, but I need to know what you want to disclose, darling. There might be things in your life that you don't want out there in the public domain. And he said to me, Mum, I've done nothing wrong. I want an open, honest account of what it's like to live on that side of the fence. So I started writing it in 2019. But suddenly it took a dark turn. It went down a road I didn't want to go down. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I've bottled it up for 4 years now, because he died on the 28th of December. I dread Christmas, I really do, but I have to make an effort for my grandkids. It's sad really, because I lost my mum at Christmas time as well, and then to lose my own son at Christmas time was horrendous. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you so much. If people could just tap on the screen and share, I'm trying to get people in. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for coming in, darling. It's something that I really am passionate about. And I'm going to go to my grave fighting to save other people's lives. Thank you for reposting, Liz. I really do appreciate it. You see, you guys are helping me to heal, if that can ever be. Hi, thank you for coming in, Simon. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to upset other people. That's not what I'm here for. But like I said, you guys are helping me to heal. If I could save one life, then I've achieved something. I can't stop all suicides. Yeah, and so am I. Working out in palliative care for, nearly 17 years I was in palliative care. I've met some wonderful families over the years, and I've helped so many people pass over with dignity and, love surrounding them. Yeah, I can see that. Simon, I've been busy writing a book about my son who ended his life, and I'm waiting here because some lucky people are going to get a signed copy. I'm all right, darling, Amanda. Don't worry, Auntie's not gonna break. You know, I might be crying, but I need to cry to let it out. Thank you for coming in. Don't worry, darling, I'm fine. But I want to really get Lizzie. Can I please send you a copy of my son's book? Please, if you would like one, please inbox me your details. Don't put them up here, please. Just inbox me privately so I can send you one out in the post in the morning. I really do appreciate your support at the moment. You know, you're all wonderful. Thank you for joining, Eleni. Good afternoon. Yeah, well, inbox me privately, please, so I can send you a signed copy. All I ask is that you give an honest and open review on your page about it. That's all I ask. It won't cost you anything. You work in a salon. Oh, you know, I'll be honest with you. When my son did what he did, I ended up losing a lot of my hair with stress. And it's took a long time for me to get any kind of confidence back. It's amazing what stress can do. Thank you, Lizzie. I really appreciate that. I do. You know, I know we've never met. But I always believe in angels. That's why I have. When time matters, angels do exist. I've had so many of them in my life, and there's a few of them saved my life. You know, even as a child. In 1963, we had that really bad winter, and there was a pond at the bottom of the street where we lived. It froze solid, so kids were using it as an ice skating ring. And I decided, I was only about 7, 8 years old, I was going to go down there skating, and some big lads had cut a big square chunk out in the centre. I didn't see it. I didn't see that this ice was just sitting there floating. And I went straight under the ice. There was an old man, and this is true, and I have written about it in one of my books. There was an old man walking his dog. Oh, thank you so much. You know, and he came rushing over, pushed the ice down, grabbed me and pulled me back up, wrapped me in his coat. I don't know, I was freezing, I was in shock. I was just a kid. How the hell he knew where I lived, I don't know, because I couldn't even speak. I was blue with the cold. And as he was walking me up to my mum, he turned around and he said to me, "It's not your time yet. You've got things to do." And those words always stuck in my head all these years. And I've often had the same voice come to me in my head, you know, and certain situations, like with Mark, my middle son, he was in his 30s. He had his own family, he was living down the road from where I lived. And I had been at work at the hospice all day, so I was really quite exhausted and mentally exhausted because one of my patients had passed away that day. Thank you, Lizzie. I really do appreciate that. And I had this voice come in my head just as I was lying down to go to sleep and said, "Veronica, get up and go and check on Mark." I ain't going to ignore that voice. I got up, got dressed, drove over to where he was. By this time it was midnight. And he was ill in bed. I said to his partner, where is he? And she says, "He's in bed." Why? And she was quite surprised to see me there at that time of night. And I went upstairs and I just took one look at him. I said, "Mark, get in the car." And he wouldn't. I'll be all right, Mum. I said, "Mark, get in the damn car." I had to shout at him like he was a little boy again. I rushed him down to hospital because I wasn't even prepared to wait for an ambulance. And they were all milling around him that night, and it turns out he had sepsis. And the consultant come over to me and he said, Veronica, if you hadn't brought him in tonight, he would have died. And for 7 weeks he was in hospital fighting for his life, and I whispered in his ear, just like that voice whispered in my head, Mark, I'm not losing one of my babies. You've got to fight this. Yeah, palliative. Well, if you've done palliative care, you must have come across it when there's been times when they've said, oh, there's somebody in the room and there was only you and them. I've always believed that there was another person in that room and it was their angel coming to collect them. I had that experience so many times, and it's very humbling. You know, you're sitting there holding somebody's hand and they suddenly come out with this, oh, they're there and they're pointing to somebody and there's only you and them in the room. I've always said that was their angel. You know, I went to one person's house once and they said to me, oh, she keeps telling me there's a guy in the corner, keep telling her to come. And he says, it's freaking me out. And I said, it's only her angel coming to collect her. You know, there's nothing to be scared of. And she died that day, bless her. But her husband just couldn't grasp what was going on. Yeah, I've always seen that smile, that relief that they're going. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for coming in, darling. Hope you're having a wonderful day. That relief. Oh, bless you. Oh, no. I'm so sorry, Jenny. Yeah, it's really, it takes over so quickly. His started with just a cold, but then it developed into sepsis. 7 weeks he was in hospital fighting for his life. You know, and the one time my eldest son, Brian, needed my help, I was denied that. Thank you, Jenny. I'm sending you hugs too, darling. Sending you blessings. I'm so sorry that you've gone through that, Pat. I really am. The 10th of November mean anything to me? No, I don't. It's not anybody's birthday or anything. Oh, 10th of November. It might do. It might come to me, I don't know. When I'm on live, I'll probably think, oh, Christ, yes. You know, it usually tends to do that. The penny drops. I'm just trying to catch people's comments. I don't like not to answer people. So if I've missed your comment, please do forgive me. It's not deliberate. Thank you, Lynn, for liking. You're a star, darling. Now, I'm going to really be focusing on getting these books out. There's one that I thought I knew you is about the children's homes and the abuse some children have suffered through being taken into the care of the local authority. That is based on a true story also. So I'm going to be gifting these books and they're going to be a signed copy. I don't want to miss anybody's comment. FYP. Thank you for following, Melanie. I really do appreciate it. As I said, I want to be gifting. I'm going to be sending one over to Lizzie, so I'm just going to write her. Okay, pen that really works. Thank you, Melanie. I really do appreciate it. You know, one of the things the other thing I do is I write poetry. I don't know. You know, when my mum was dying with cancer, one of the things she said to me is, Veronica, promise me you won't never stop writing. And I haven't. 24 years down the line, I'm still writing. I'm one of these people, if I make a promise, I can't break it. And there's one of these poems, let me just get it up so I can read it to you. And I think it says a lot. One of the other things I did actually say to my son when he was struggling with his mental health, because it does help you to write, to offload. I told him to write a journal, and he started writing it on a daily basis. And when that was the other thing that upset me with Manchester Police, my son had left a suicide note for me. And the police decided they weren't going to give me that until a year and a half later, when I got all his personal belongings back after the hearing. And that really upset me. That was a personal, private message to his mum the night he passed away, and they refused to give it to me. That really did shock me, that they think they're allowed to do that. But this is one of the poems I wrote, and this is I came to have a peep. I stood by your bed last night, I came to have a peep. I could see that you were crying, you found it hard to sleep. I spoke to you softly as you brushed away the tears. It's me, I'm well, I'm fine, I'm here. I was close to you at breakfast, watching you pour your tea. You were thinking of the many things and memories of me. I was with you at the shops today. Your arms were getting sore. I longed to take that parcel and wish I could do more. I was with you at your grave today. You tended it with such care. I wanted to reassure you I'm no longer there. I walked with you towards the house as you fumbled for your key, and gently put my hands around you and smiled and said, it's me. You looked so very tired and sank into a chair. I tried so hard to let you know I was standing there. It's possible for me to be near you every day, to say to you it was certainty I never went away. You sat there very quietly, then smiled. I think you knew. In that stillness of the evening, I was very close to you. The day is over, I smile and watched you yawn. I said, good night, God bless, I'll see you in the morning. And when the time is right, you'll cross that brief divide and I'll rush across to greet you, and we'll stand side by side. I have so many things to show you, there's so much to see. Be patient, live your journey, then I'll come home to me. There's just one of the things. There's not allowed. Yeah, it's it's something that I've done all my life. Mum, when I was a kid, I used to talk because I come from a big family. We couldn't afford books. Mum couldn't afford that. So I used to make up stories all the time for my siblings, just at bedtime, especially when they were going to sleep. And my mum would used to say to me, "You've got a vivid imagination. It'll get you into trouble one day." It never did get me into trouble, but it kept me out of trouble. Let me put it that way. Because I used to write all the time. And there's other poems I've wrote in here, and they're all sentimental, and they're to do with people crossing over. And I've got to believe that my son is watching over me. Otherwise, I couldn't carry on. He was the one that made me a mum. I was only 17. I was a kid myself. You know. Oh, thank you, Lizzie. Thank you. I hope it does inspire you, because writing is a healing tool, you know. And I always say to people, because I'm on several platforms trying to raise awareness. I've got my own YouTube channel. I have a business page on Facebook, which is called When Time Matters, Angels Do Exist. And I always say to people, don't suffer on your own. If you need to talk, inbox me. I have, especially after my son did what he did, I set up a page on Facebook, and it's just called Let's Talk. And that is to do with mental health and suicide prevention. Because sometimes that's all it needs is somebody to talk to them, to bring them back down and take them out of that dark cloud that they're in. Oh, thank you, Lynn. You know, thank you, pretty woman, for coming in. You know, it does take just one person saying, "Are you okay?" You know, and I try to encourage people to ask, because I walk through town and I see people in distress, especially the homeless people. I can't stand it. I know there was one lady I seen a while back, and I was walking through the city centre, and I could see that she was really in quite sad situation and distress. And I walked over to her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she just burst into tears. She says, "You're the first person who's asked me that in a very, very long time." And I sat with her for a little while, and she explained her situation. She was homeless on the streets, and she'd not eaten for a few days. People were just walking past her like she didn't exist. So the first thing I did is go to the cafe and get her something to eat, a hot meal, and bring it out to her. Because I did say to her, "Come into the cafe," and she says they won't let me because I'm homeless. Excuse me? Anyway, I went in there and I ordered this meal and took it out to her, and she sat and ate it. And I gave her the information she needed to get her help to get her off the streets. Yeah, singing is a healing as well, and music. And that's what I did. I gave her the contact details, and she went and got the help that she needed. But it only took me just asking her, "Are you okay?" to her open up and give me her full story, and the help that she needed. And being in palliative care and a care worker, you know when you see somebody in distress. We've been into certain situations in our job, and you have to have empathy. We have to have empathy to enable us to do our job correctly. Yeah, it's sad. Now, I'll be honest with you, many years ago, I was homeless. I've been homeless twice, actually. Once was through trying to escape DM. I ended up having to put an ocean between us because that was the only way I could get away from him. And I ended up moving over to Spain, homeless with a 4-year-old, my daughter, because there was a big age gap between my 2 sons and my daughter. And I was, I was such a determined woman. I drove over there. I just packed my car, put my daughter in, and I drove, and I just kept on driving. It took me a week, but eventually I landed in Benalmádena, and that's where I stayed for a couple of years. I got myself an apartment. It was furnished, so that was a blessing. Got my daughter into a school, which I struggled because I couldn't read the Spanish writing, but there was a lady in the apartment. There was a supermarket downstairs, and she could see I was upset and distressed about something. And she asked me, she says, "What, are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm struggling to read your writing to get my daughter into school." "Oh, comprende. Go and get a passport. So I brought the passport down. She filled it in. My daughter was in school the next day, which enabled me to go and get a job. And I worked in a restaurant as a chef. So that was a story, I called it my place to heal after being in that DM situation. And then eventually I decided to come back to the UK because yeah, I understand that. I get that with the dementia. Well, it was very hard, Lizzie, and Spirit, to do that, especially with a 4-year-old on my own. But that was my only way to get away from it. If I hadn't have done it that way, it would have continued. And it was actually my solicitor who told me. She says, "Veronica, if you're going to do it now before it goes to court. Because if once it goes to court, the courts can order, certain things, and then you wouldn't be able to leave the country." I was. It was scary. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends out there, no family, just me and a 4-year-old. Yeah, that's what makes me strong. I don't know. It's just something that's in me. I really don't want it. And if I can be open and honest with people about my life, I hope it helps somebody else to find that strength. We've all got a story to tell. And I always say to people, if you can put pen to paper, write your book, because you have a book already. You've lived your life. Or if you sit at a computer and do it. Yeah, it is hard, Melanie, very hard. I've gone into situations, into people's homes where I think I told you, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but there was one occasion I was looking after a gentleman and he had two sons, grown-up sons. They were in their 30s and 40s. And they were arguing in the kitchen and I could hear them arguing. And I could see that Dad was getting distressed because he could hear his sons arguing in his kitchen. And for a while I sat there and listened to it and just tried to reassure the dad. In the end, I couldn't take any more. I got up, went into the kitchen, and I told him straight. I said, is that the last memory you want your father to know? Listening to two grown-ass men argue over stupid little things when you should be concentrating on your father. Oh, I didn't half go to town on them. And they packed in the arguing, let me put it that way. But I overstepped a boundary there, you see. But I'm one of these people, I don't care. And I went into the office and I told them exactly what I did. She says, oh, Veronica, you shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. But that day, they came into their father's bedroom and apologised to me. I said, you don't apologise to me. It's your dad you need to apologise to. At the end of the day, he's on his last days. He doesn't want to hear his sons arguing. And they looked at Dad and said sorry. And when I was leaving the property to go back home, both his sons turned around and said, thank you for that. Thank you for making us aware of what we were doing. He said, I didn't even think of it that way. And I said, that's fine. I said, I wasn't being malicious towards you at all. I just wanted you to stop arguing around your dad. If you got a beef, take it somewhere else. Don't bring it here. Oh, there's lots of tales I could tell you, Melanie. And I bet you've seen a few of them yourself. Well, I hope you have all had a lovely morning. Thank you for coming in the room, Shays. It's been lovely having you in here this morning. But Lizzie, please do inbox me your address, please, so I can get this signed copy of his book out to you in the morning, please. And Melanie, would you like a book? If you would, could you please privately inbox me your details? Well, that's my nature, to be honest and open. I've never been anything other than that. I can't. No, I'm just one of the... I went to a lady once and she was in so much distress because her husband wasn't, he was all over the place. The medication wasn't keeping him sedated. And thank you. Please do inbox me your person. Don't put your information here, please. Inbox me privately. And when I walked actually into her home, she says to me, an angel walked in today, because I quickly calmed the situation down and got her husband settled. And I said, what do you mean? She says, you walked through my door. And that, those such kind words makes a difference. Yeah, I've came across a lot of that as well. I know there's certain situations where, when you go into somebody's home and you get that feeling, oh, there's something not quite right here. And you're sitting there and you're watching and observing and taking in everything that's been said or done. Those are the times when because I am a whistleblower. I'll be honest with you, I won't put up with no bullshit from nobody. If I see something going wrong, I will contact the legal team that needs to be contacted. And that's just who I am. I'm sorry, put my hands up. If you do something wrong, I'm going to report. And that's exactly what I did. This particular day, it wasn't any staff or anything. It was actually their own family members were taking advantage financially. And I didn't like it. And I thought, no, this is not right. So I actually did report it to social services, and there was a safeguarding placed on that person. Yeah, we do. And this is what I keep saying, Melanie, we need to help each other. Somewhere along the line, society's got lost. Children are feral. When we were growing up, we never dare be cheeky to an older person. Oh, bless you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, if it hadn't been for me, although Mark was in hospital for 7 weeks fighting. Oh, bless you. I'm so sorry for that, Lizzie. If it did leave him with some damage, he didn't come out of it unscathed. The consultant has warned him because it's left him with damage to his heart. And he said if he was ever to get sepsis again, he would definitely take him because his heart wouldn't be strong enough to fight it the second time round. So he's got to be very, very, very careful. Yeah, the signs was when I walked into his bedroom and his partner, because she was quite surprised at me being there obviously that time of night. And he was just grey, no colour in him at all. And that was the warning sign to me. It had drained his life away from him. He just thought he had a cold, a really bad cold, and it wasn't. So if there's anybody on here watching, please, if you see the signs where somebody has got flu-like symptoms, but the colour is just drained from their face and it's not flu, you need to get them to the hospital ASP. Yeah, it's true, Melanie. Yeah. I've worked in healthcare all my life. Oh. Yeah, my first boyfriend got killed on a motorbike. I was only 16, and I've never liked motorbikes since. My two sons, Brian and Mark, wanted a motorbike when they were growing up, and I said, no. I said, I'll help you to buy a car, but I won't never help you to buy a motorbike. Yeah. It's not nice being on your own. It isn't. But for me, although I live on my own, I think the writing helps with me. Thank you for coming into the room, Jadine. Oh. Yeah, I think I was 16 when my first boyfriend, and his name was Brian. And that's why my son got called Brian. I keep telling people, You know, every day, as I say, we've all got a story to tell. We've all lived a life. If you can put pen to paper or sit at a computer and write your life story, your book's there. Thank you for coming into the room, Sultan. This one here, I dedicated this one to all healthcare workers. And it is every one of the stories in here is related to somebody that I've nursed over the years. And with their permission, obviously, I wouldn't do it without their permission. But it's just because I've got a unique way of explaining somebody's story. It's like this one here, Let Me Go. We all have the right to freedom of choice. As a family, it's difficult to let go of your loved ones. Through all the tears and heartache, you will realise one day that to let them go is in the best interest of that person, free from pain and suffering, like a bird in the sky at sunset, free to roam and never be forgotten. You yourself will in time slowly heal from the pain and heartache. Time is a great healer. Just remember the memories you made, and the love for each other will always remain. You know, these are the certain things that I like to write about. Another one is, what do you see? When you look at me, I'm young and full of life and hope and dreams. In my youth and prime of life, lots to see, lots to do, places to visit, memories to build. A heart to love and sometimes break, a life to live. Now I'm old, what do you see? I'm a person with a story to tell. I've travelled the world and raised a family, filled my home with laughter and sometimes tears. When I think of you no longer here, who am I? I am you, the person with a life to live and memories to build. So tell me, please, what do you see when you look at me? And those are the things I write about. Now, I don't judge people, ever. I've always said never judge a person by what you see, because you don't know what their story is behind that cover. You know, but this one was published in 2018. I went with a company called Lulu in America. I was actually in America when this one was released. So you know, these books are out there. Anybody can buy them. They're all on Amazon. Thank you for liking my live, Jenny. I really do appreciate it. I know you've been watching me for a while now, and I appreciate those people who have stayed with me. Anyway, it's now 1 o'clock, and I bet you've got your lunch to cook. I might come back on later on, and we can talk about some of the things I've wrote about in these books. There's some interesting stories in there, actually, and they're all to do with people that I've met over the years. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in this morning with me. Thank you, Lynn, Melanie, Jenny, all of you. Jenny, can I have your personal information, please, so I can send you a book? I might come on later on this afternoon, so because I've not got nothing to do, just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. I'd love to meet you too one day, love. You know, maybe that's one thing we could work towards in the future. Or meet up on a Spanish beach somewhere. That'd be great. You know, it's hard to knock somebody down that's already been there. You know, I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. I'm a survivor. And I'd say sometimes people come and say some really silly comments. Give it your best shot. I've already been to hell and back. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you for that. And you, Melanie, please don't forget to inbox me. And Jenny, if you could please send me your details, I'd like to send you a book as well, please. If that's okay. If you would like one. Thank you for coming into the room, Mandy. I will let you all go because I'm going to yeah, exactly, Melanie. And I've always said that I've been to hell and back. You can't take me anywhere else. And all these people who come and make horrible remarks or, you know, coming in on a chat, trying to chat you up. Oh, I'm not interested. Let's go by. Yeah, amen. I'm going to go off now and let you get on with cooking your lunch and sorting your families out. But please do inbox me your details so I can get these books in the post to you. It could be one of my son's story or one of the children's home or the other one. It could be any of the books that I send you, but there will be signed copies. I will do. Thank you, Melanie. You too, darling. I'll say good afternoon to you, and hopefully I'll catch you later on this afternoon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.